we need a direction, we need a plan to provide better government, not bigger government, better government that gets the big things right, that gets off Australians' backs, that gives power back to Australians at the local level, the small businesses and the local communities. We need to revive the private sector. We need to create investment like David is doing here in Queensland. And we will begin to restore that aspiration, that opportunity, that reward for effort that is being sucked out of our country and our economy right now. Now, I began to lay out that plan and that direction in my budget and reply. And let me take you through a few key parts of that I think are an essential part of the plan and direction this country needs in the coming years. Let me start by saying we will axe Labor's toxic taxes. These are aspiration-killing taxes. We don't want opportunity obliterated for young Australians, for those building a nest egg, for small businesses and families and start-ups and farmers. We want to see Australians knowing that they have an opportunity to invest, to save, to build a business and to get ahead, like past generations have been able to do. The Prime Minister's very happy to have used negative gearing to build his wealth. Good on him. Good on him. But he wants to pull up the ladder for the next generation of Australians, and we will not stand for that. But we'll go further. We'll stop Labor's dishonest inflation tax. Because at the moment, the higher this government is able to get inflation, the more Australians pay in tax every single year. In fact, their tax cut that they're providing now, gone in about 8 months for the average Australian. Because inflation is funding this government's spending. And that dishonest inflation tax, where as your income goes up, just to keep up with rising inflation, you're not getting ahead, just to keep up, more and more of your income gets pushed up into higher and higher tax brackets, and you pay more and more tax, but you're not getting ahead. And by bringing that to an end, we'll see the average worker, even just at a 2.5% inflation rate, $250 better off in the first year, $500 in the second, $750 in the third, $1,000 the year after that, and so on and so on. In fact, the Treasurer came clean a couple of weeks ago when he said they plan to take $250 billion from Australians in the coming years through their inflation tax. $250 billion. That's how they're funding their budget. Drive inflation, the higher it is, the more they get, and take more from hard-working Australians. Well, we will not stand for that. But we also have to beat inflation. And that's why we've got to get rid of Labor's wasteful spending. It's corporate welfare. It's spending on green hydrogen projects that are going absolutely nowhere. It's housing programs that are not building houses. Housing construction's falling in this country, not going up. And we will also establish the Future Generations Fund. This is a way of taking those extraordinary dividends that have come in this state and other mining states in this country, and putting it aside and saying that is going to be put aside for future generations. For future generations. We're not going to spend it on the latest government fancy, the latest government project. We are going to put that aside to pay down the debt and build productive infrastructure for the future of this country. And that is what the Future Generations Fund will do.
Angus Taylor's not mucking around here. Straight to the point at the LNP State Convention. Australia needs real direction, not more bloated government. He's calling for better government that actually delivers, gets off people's backs, and hands power back to locals, small businesses, and communities. Spot on. We've had years of the opposite. Taylor wants to fire up the private sector, get investment flowing like they're seeing in Queensland, and bring back that old Aussie spirit of aspiration and reward for hard work. Because right now, it's being drained dry. He slams Labor's toxic taxes head on. Negative gearing changes that pull up the ladder after the PM used it himself. Classic hypocrisy. Then the sneaky bracket creep that turns inflation into a silent tax grab. Your wages just keep pace with rising costs, and suddenly you're paying more tax without getting ahead. Taylor's plan to index brackets would put hundreds back in workers' pockets every year. Sounds pretty fair to me. He nails the inflation tax too. Labour's spending is driving it, and everyday Aussies are footing the bill. Cut the waste, corporate welfare, green hydrogen flops, housing programs that aren't building houses, and bank those mining windfalls into a proper future generations fund. Not for the latest pet project, but to pay down debt and build real infrastructure. This isn't flashy spin, it's a practical punch at the cost of living pain and economic drift under Labour. Taylor's laying out a clear alternative: lower taxes, less waste, more opportunity. In tough times, that's the kind of direction voters are desperate for.